The heart monitor flatlined at 3:12 in the morning. That part wasn't unusual. What was when the machine started beeping again, on its own, and the patient was already in the morgue. I'm a registered nurse. This happened during my night shifts at St. Vincent's Medical Center in Toledo, Ohio, winter of 2020. I'd been working nights for almost 5 years by then. You get used to the quiet, the dim lights, the constant hum of vents and machines, the smell of disinfectant that never really leaves your clothes. People think hospitals are chaotic at night. They're not. They're empty, and that's worse. That night started like any other. I grabbed a bad cup of coffee from the break room. The machine always tasted burnt, sat at the nurse's station, charted vitals, listened to the distant ding of elevators. Around 2:40 a.m., I was assigned to check on room 417. It was empty. The patient had passed earlier that evening. Natural causes, elderly man, no family present. Transport had already moved him downstairs. Still, the call light was on. I assumed it was a glitch. Those happen. I stepped inside to turn it off. The room was cold, colder than the rest of the floor. The bed was stripped, fresh sheets folded at the foot, monitor dark, curtains half closed. Then I heard it. The heart monitor clicked. Once, I froze. It powered on. No patient, no leads attached. The screen flashed vitals, weak, erratic. I told myself it was leftover data. Machines store memory sometimes. I shut it off. As I turned to leave, the bathroom door creaked. Just a little. I opened it, empty, no windows, no vents big enough for anything but air. I laughed at myself, quietly, shook it off. Night shifts mess with your head. At 3:05 a.m., the call light went off again. Room 417. This time I didn't go alone. I grabbed Mark, another nurse. He'd been there longer than me. Didn't scare easy. We walked in together. The monitor was on again. Flat line. Mark frowned, walked over, tapped the screen. "That's not possible," he said. Then the flat line spiked. 1 beat, 2, 3. Mark unplugged the machine from the wall. The screen stayed on. That's when the intercom crackled. "Code blue," a voice said. It was faint, distorted, and it wasn't coming from the ceiling speaker. It was coming from the room phone. Mark stared at me. I stared back. The phone rang. I didn't answer. The bathroom light flicked on by itself. The mirror fogged, slowly, like someone was breathing in front of it. Mark whispered, "We're leaving." As we backed out, I noticed something on the whiteboard above the bed. Writing, in shaky marker. It hadn't been there before. Still waiting. Security checked the footage later. No one entered that room after the body was taken. No power surge. No equipment malfunction logged. They wiped the board clean, replaced the monitor, told us not to talk about it. 2 weeks later, I was charting when I heard a familiar beep. From down the hall, room 415. They'd assigned a new patient by then. Middle-aged woman, stable, sleeping. The monitor showed normal vitals, except one extra line, a second heart rate, slower, off rhythm, not hers. I don't take assignments near that room anymore, and every nurse on night shift knows why. I worked nights as a patient transporter at St. Luke's Regional Hospital in Boise, Idaho. This happened in late fall of 2019. Night shift is all routine. Move patients, deliver labs, clean wheelchairs. You learn the sounds, the squeak of the old elevator, the buzz of fluorescent lights, the vending machine that eats your dollar and never gives it back. Around 1:20 a.m., I got a call to transport a body from the ICU to the morgue. Older woman, no family present. Nurse named Kelly handed me the paperwork. Everything normal. I remember the smell of antiseptic mixed with stale coffee. I remember the wheels rattling over the tile. I remember thinking how quiet the hall was. Too quiet. The morgue is in the basement. Past radiology. Past a locked fire door that sticks when it rains. I signed the log. Time in, time out. Slid the gurney into one of the cold drawers. Standard procedure. As I turned to leave, I heard a sound behind me. I froze. I told myself it was the building settling. Pipes do that. I didn't look back. I locked the door and went upstairs. At 2:10 a.m., the ICU called again. Same room number where the patient was. I told them, morgue, drawer 3. There was a pause. Then Kelly said, "Eric, she's still here." I laughed, nervous, thought she was joking. She wasn't. I walked back down with her. The hallway felt longer this time. The lights flickered once near radiology. The morgue door was unlocked. That hadn't happened before. Drawer 3 was open, empty. Kelly swore under her breath. I felt cold crawl up my arms. Then I saw the logbook. A new entry. Time stamped 1:58 a.m. Released to family. Signature at the bottom, my name. But the handwriting wasn't mine. Security was called. Cameras checked. From 1:30 to 2:05, the hallway cameras showed nothing. No movement. No one entering or leaving. Except one thing. At 1:56, the elevator arrived at the basement. The doors opened. No one was inside. The doors closed. Then the elevator went back up. We searched the hospital. Every floor. Every stairwell. At 3:40 a.m., a nurse on the surgical floor reported a patient wandering the hallway. Barefoot. Hospital gown. Confused. When they approached her, she asked one question. Did I sign out yet? It was the same woman. Same wristband. Toe tag number. She didn't resist. Didn't scream. Just looked tired. Security escorted her back toward the ICU. Halfway there, she stopped walking, pointed at me, and said, "You forgot the pen." Then she collapsed. Doctors called it a delayed death response, some rare medical explanation. They said stress makes people see things. The woman was pronounced dead again at 4:02 a.m. This time, 2 doctors signed. I refused to transport her. Another guy did it. Quiet kid, new hire, he came back pale, said the drawer was warm. A week later, I was clearing paperwork when I found the discharge form, dated that night, time 4:58 a.m. Released to family, signature at the bottom, perfect, clean, mine. I turned it over. On the back, written in shaky pen, were 4 words, "Thank you for waiting." I was a night shift nurse at Mercy General Hospital in Des Moines, Iowa. This happened in the summer of 2020, right in the middle of everything going wrong in the world. Night shift has its own rhythm. Dimmed lights, soft beeping, the smell of sanitizer and old coffee. You stop noticing it after a while. Room 312 was my problem patient that night. Middle-aged man, no visitors, listed as high fall risk, but barely conscious most of the time. At 12:40 a.m., he coded. We worked him for almost 20 minutes. Chest compressions, oxygen, the whole routine. Time of death, 12:59 a.m. I closed his eyes myself. After that, it was paperwork, charting, the boring part. Around 1:30, I noticed the call light for 312 glowing faintly through the glass. I figured someone leaned on the panel by accident. It happens. Still, I went to shut it off. The room was empty. Bed stripped, no equipment, just the monitor, unplugged, showing a straight line frozen on the screen. The call light button was pressed in. I reset it and left. 10 minutes later, it came back on. This time, I felt it in my stomach. I stood at the door longer than I should have. Listening, nothing. I went in, reset the light again, checked the panel, no faults. When I turned to leave, I noticed something under the bed. A sock. Gray. Hospital issued. I remembered taking them off when we called it. I picked it up and dropped it in the linen bin. At 2:17 a.m., the unit clerk called me over. She asked why I'd readmitted a discharged patient. I laughed, told her she needed caffeine. She turned the screen toward me. Room 312 was listed as occupied. Vitals updating every 30 seconds. Heart rate low. Oxygen unreadable. Pain level 0. I told her it was a system glitch. I didn't believe myself. The call light came on again. This time it stayed on. I grabbed another nurse and we went together. The door was already open. The bed was still empty, but the monitor was on. And it was beeping. Slow, steady, as if someone was lying there. My coworker reached for the bed rail. That's when the intercom crackled. Overhead speaker. Nurse needed in 312. We both looked up. The voice wasn't the automated one. It sounded tired, flat, human. I stepped closer to the bed. That's when I noticed the indentation. The sheets were pressed down, like someone was sitting there. Then the call light clicked off. On its own. The monitor spiked once, then flatlined again. We backed out of the room. Security came. Engineering too. They said it was a wiring issue. Old building. Bad panels. They shut the room down for the night. I went back to charting, hands shaking. At 3:58 a.m., a new alert popped up. Patient requesting assistance. Room 312. I didn't go. No one did. At shift change, the day nurse asked why I left a note in the chart. I told her I hadn't. She showed me the screen. Under nursing comments, time stamped 3:59 a.m. was one sentence. I can't feel my legs. Administration buried it, deleted the entry, cleared the logs. They reopened the room a week later. No more incidents. I transferred units, then hospitals. I tell myself it was stress, fatigue, too many hours.